So, hi there, folks. I've decided to quickly talk about my first experience publishing a book, even though it was published only locally and it wasn't that big of a deal. It was back then, and still is, quite big to me, because it was the first time I officially put something out, and officially it could be labeled as a book. And I guess the point is that I was quite young when I managed to do this. A couple of reasons why that happened. One, of course, I was incredibly fortunate in the terms of my parents, who helped me and who encouraged me, and without them this book probably wouldn't even come to be. A lot of other stories about their involvement in my journey, especially in childhood, both of my parents, but they kind of work together, but I will get to that some other time. However, this first time with this first book, I was studying like after school. There was this, I'm not quite sure how you call it, but like an artistic school, like a hobby where you could gather and practice plays and stuff like that. And originally I was supposed to start there, or wanted to start there very early, like in the primary school itself, but I got there much later in the middle school, because in the primary school, oh no shit, it was actually even before primary school. It was like I think in kindergarten or something, but when I got there to the place, like to the quote-unquote auditions, to like get a feel of the place and so on, the teacher accidentally bumped into me with her with her purse, sorry, and I hated her for that, and I thought she's an evil and a toxic person, so I didn't join in back then. But then I got fat and depressed in the middle school, like legitimately not depressed, not this fucking new age kind of depression where this is not nicotine, it's purely vapor. I mean vape in a vapor without any fucking shit, okay? So don't fucking... That being said, do not smoke anything unless it comes from a stranger in a dark street corner and it glistens on the light like Edward Cullen from Twilight. Then definitely smoke it, because it will turn you into a vampire, as you all know. So, where was I? Where the fuck was I? So, yeah, so she fucking bumped into me with her purse, and that was the end of it. Then in the middle school, yeah, that's what I was saying, I got depressed, but it was a like real fucking depression. It wasn't like, oh, I'm so cool, look at me, I'm depressed, posting on fucking Instagram and shit, this fucking new wave of fetishism around mental illness that we are experiencing. Something I would like to talk to you about in depth, because it deserves to be talked in depth, and as we do in these days, we tipped from one extreme to the other. As a person of extremes, I'm quite sensitive to that, and yeah, it's not good, man, it's not good. But it doesn't have anything to do with the fucking story, Gerald, so get back to the fucking story, Gerald. So yeah, so in middle school, fucking depressed fat boy, said it like 3 times already, and that was the reason why I enrolled, so to speak, in this hobby. It was more or less theater, okay? Like, if you are unattractive, fat, you can be attractive and fat. Look at Dwayne Johnson in that fucking movie where he's like CGI'd to be fat, man. So, yeah, look at him. So, he looks like that fucking movie, whole fucking film looks like a cheap deepfake pornography, man. It looks like some guy or girl or whatever had like a fucking this imagination, this fucking persevering fantasy about fat Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and he was Rock for that idea, meaning Rock Hard. Okay, no, okay. And yeah, he made it into a movie. All glory to him, man. Shit. So I wasn't Dwayne, I was ugly and fat, okay? I had pimples everywhere in my anus. I had, it got worse in time because in high school I started shaving like the inside of my anus because I thought that my girlfriend at the time might want to. I don't understand this reasoning behind it, but I was like, she might want to stick her thumb in my ass during the intercourse, and I wanted it for the first time to be as magical as possible, and I thought that a few hair in my rear end would kill the mood, you know? So I had like blade cuts in my ass, and it was fucking bleeding. It was terrible, man. But it's high school. Other stories to tell, Gerald, about fucking testing LSD for local dealers and shit. This one is about a local book. That's much more that. So yeah. So the fucking book was written like I started writing it quite from the get-go. Because like, as I said, it was mostly for theater kids. So people like me. I was the only fucking guy in there. So that was another additional thing, you know, like in that mindset of a boy whose testicles, I'm not Hitler, are starting to drop. To be like alone around females, it quite helped my ego. Yeah, it was like the only environment where by default I was the primary male. That being said, there was actually one other fucking guy with he wore a fucking bandana, like a 90s gangster or something. But he was even like more, you know, he wasn't fat though. So I studied there for like 4 years. I remember we did like Shakespeare, like obviously we did fucking Shakespeare and it sucked. And I was supposed to play Romeo in Romeo and Juliet. And Jesus fucking Christ, man, just imagine like, take Dwayne The Rock Johnson from the fucking movie, I can't remember what it was fucking called. And like, my face on his face, leave everything else the same, like the skin tone the same, as you can see. I tan quite easily, actually. Thank you. I would like to be fucking tanned, man. What the fuck am I talking? Like, I even wanted to start going to solariums. How, I don't fucking know how you say it in your fucking superior language. Yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, man. In like 40 years, I will be a writer. Still, forever. I will die a writer. I was born a writer. I will fucking roll this till I die. And I will look like, you know, I will be like gone for like 5 years, and then I will re-emerge like fucking Dr. Dre in the fucking video where he's lifting weights. And he's like, guess who's back, motherfucker? And it will be me. And I derailed again. This will happen quite often, darling. Get ready for that. So yeah, and I was supposed to play Romeo, right? So like, and the Juliet, I think, like, vaguely remember the girl was, it was a girl. Okay, that's the first fucking problem for a person in that circumstances, in that shape and form that I was in. So even though I was the only male in there, it didn't mean I was necessarily confident. So I was incredibly shy. So I was like fat Dwayne, shy Johnson, and it like didn't work. But then we tried Macbeth, and I mean the Scottish play. Fuck, great way to ruin your career, Gerald. Fucking asshole. So yeah, And we tried Macbeth, and I fucking love that play, like from all of the Shakespeare's work. Granted, I'm not yet familiar with all of them, but from those that I've read and those that I know of, I always cherished the story of Macbeth the most. It echoes in my life and in my heart and in my mind, and I believe it will for a long time. I highly recommend for all of you to check out the rendition of Macbeth starring Michael Fassbender. It's one of the definitely one of my favorite films from past 10 years, but one of the most visually stunning pictures, and I believe one that captures the heaviness and the weight of the Shakespeare's work quite incredibly, actually, and utilizes aspects that only film can utilize with obviously pictures and so on, and it actually adds on to the work, like with many fucking shite popped up, never mind, with most of the Shakespeare's work being adapted to TV or film, like theater released pictures. These days, not even theater released pictures are theater fucking, you know what I was trying to say. Scarlett Johansson and so on, and Emma Stone. So, yeah, I like Macbeth. That's and after that, there was like this fucking shit. Like you have an assignment, and you are supposed to like. Basically, you can do anything. It can be a monologue you memorize and then you flex with it on stage, or it can be something else. Basically, anything quote unquote artistic, quote unquote artistic, and for many years, for as long as I remember, for me that endeavor was writing, and not only an artistic one. It is what I am. It is what I do. It is what I can do. It is what I will do. It is what I have to do, because if I don't do it, another fucking film based on Shakespeare's work, that's, I hold this opinion to this day, greatly underestimated and was fucking hated on by losers that look like me without the hat and the shirt and the jacket, and they have like they have like a fedora, you know, we all know who I'm talking about, and it was hated by them on media, on everywhere. Was anonymous, because I guess they were like disappointed it's not about the group Anonymous, which I guess existed for like 2 weeks, and because of their aesthetics, it sticked around. And like, if I was a fucking they are a bunch of, I can't say it. Okay, this term I'm about to use has been coined as a racist term, but it means many. Okay, I won't say it, but it means many fucking different things. You know, it's like a food. It's like it. Now it sounds like I'm about to say something much worse, but it's like a fucking food. It's like a fucking what else? It's like, it's a lot of fucking things. Okay, you have hackers and you have crackers, and crackers are basically, oh, I forgot. Whatever. They're full of shit, man. Crackers, basically, crackers, in all definitions of the word, are full of shit. I don't like the fucking biscuits, like, as a snack. It's weird, it's not food, it doesn't fucking fit up. What the fuck is the reason for... Why would you eat that shit, man? You know? Anyhow, I was fat Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I will probably cut the previous part out. I was ranting about biscuits. Just so you know, my current mental disposition. Yeah, and I chose to write as the form of finishing at this theater group, school, whatever. And I started writing. I started quite soon. I started in like a sixth grade in middle school, and I continued, I think, for like 2 years on that. But the original draft was written when I was 12. That's what I fucking remember. So shut the fuck up. And I started writing even sooner. One of the reasons I boasted about at the beginning for this whole ordeal was that I wanted to write and publish a book before Paulina's age, because I was not a smart being, and I thought that the record he set with Aragon was like writing a book at the earliest age and not writing like a bestseller in the earliest age. Or maybe I did, and this is just a form of defense mechanism where I'm rewriting my history to not seem like such an idiot to myself. Whatever. Surprise, surprise, the book did not become a national or even international bestseller, but all of the 100 copies sold out. And they are still in some of the libraries in my hometown. That means one library. There is only one library in my hometown, and I stole a fucking book from there by accident. I borrowed it and I lost it, so yeah. And as a replacement, I fucking brought my own book years later. I felt like such a fucking G when I did that, but the book was shit. And I frequently get surprised when I'm in Highlands, when I'm in my hometown and on like some fucking party or whatever, and some fucking random unknown girl comes to me and she's like, I love the book. It's a shit book, man. It's fucking garbage, and that's what it's all about. You write garbage for like 20 years, then you write one good book, then you fucking die, then 100 years later on, someone picks it up and he's like, oh shit, that is terrible, and that's it. Or he says, oh my god, this is the best thing I ever read. He becomes a teacher and he bullies kids with it until the end of his days. So either way, you end up being hated. So don't fucking do this. Fucking Bukowski was right. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Yes. I just went through all of the other things he said and wrote, and he was right about this one, okay? Don't rape anyone on a bus stop or whatever. So, I wrote a book. It was called Vampire. In Czech it's like vampír, and the fucking Y, there is a Y at the end, alright, in Czech it's not vampire with fucking I. Am I retard? Am I saying it right? I. Yes, I'm going through alphabet, shut the fuck up. E. What the fuck, I skipped it. Okay, it's I, whatever, it's I, we all know what I mean. So there is not an I, there is a Y. And that was a great fucking argument that lasted forever with my teacher. Because she was like, there is an I, and I was like, no bitch, there is an Y. And she was like, you fucking dumb fat piece of blob, get the fuck out of here. And I was like, no. And then we argued, and it ended up by us calling the like Czech National Library or whatever, and they confirmed I was right. Of course I was, darling. And yeah, so we published it as basically a vampire. There was this fucking game called Vampire. It's spelled exactly the same. I could have just said that. And it was like 90 pages or something, or 100 pages. Originally it was a short story that I started writing in the 6th grade, and through edits it became longer and longer. That's one of the fucking ways in which I progressed. Actually, with edits I'm able to cut books, not extend them. And even then I have quite a problem with the length of my books. That's something I am currently working on, and something I will talk about in some other video. But I always cherished the idea of a gardener, of like jizzing out words without knowing where the seed will fall, and then like watching the garden grow, or whatever the metaphor is supposed to mean. But these days I much prefer, or I don't prefer it, but I want it for myself to try to be more of an architect. So I set out like specific page number, specific word count I'm going to hit every fucking chapter, in this one particular project at least, not in all of them, so you don't fucking crucify me later on. In this one, the one after Zombie Fest, it will be very carefully structured, all of it, and I can't wait to share it with you. But this book I shouldn't have shared with the world, because it's shit. It's about like this fucking, it was when the fucking Assassin's Creed, what is it called, fucking Brotherhood or something, when you had like the option of co-op, and you could like play with other fucking losers, and one of the characters was a Black Doctor. And it was actually after I included the character of Black Doctor, because I remember quite distinctively that I was pissed that they stole my original idea, quote unquote, Jesus fucking Christ, Gerald, original idea, which isn't even fucking original, it's not my idea or whatever. It's a profession. So yeah. So there was a character of a Black Doctor, there was a character of a normal Doctor who, because he's, like, obviously this is something that happened quite often in the Middle Ages. People who worked with blood, when the first inconvenience happened, were blamed for that. Like, if you were a butcher, you were probably also a fucking Satanist, who witch or whatever, and so on. That's why the fucking hangman always had to hang out outside the fucking village or whatever, because they were deemed unclean. Money and blood was deemed unclean. Money and blood. These days, it's one and the same. Yeah. And it was about his journey, whatever, of the fucking guy. He gets blamed for fucking Blake and labeled as a vampire. It was based on some fucking articles I've read about the vampirism or the hunt of vampires in Middle Ages, and the way they fucking killed them and shit and so on. And yeah, it was a bittersweet tale, wrote in a bittersweet way. Some of the passages were quite great. It was a novella, basically. Even though there is such a fucking thin line, and basically no one fucking knows what the difference is. To break it to you, no one fucking knows what the difference is between novella and a novel. I've read somewhere a long time ago a definition I quite like, and that's that in novella it's one idea focused, and one character doesn't, or the main character, the MC does MC. I still can't fucking use the term MC, man. I imagine a fucking, you know, master of ceremonies, a fucking Ghostface killer or whatever. So, yeah. And in this definition, the character doesn't change, basically, right? He doesn't go through changes or whatever. But in novella, just as chemistry is a study of change, Alan. So, yeah. And that was like the premise of the story. He hides in this Jewish family which is also being hidden by the fucking Black Doctor, because in Middle Ages the Middle Ages quite shined with anti-Semitism, darling, and it wasn't a pleasant time to be a Jew. Not that in any day and age it was, but it was shit even in the shit ages, commonly known as Middle Ages. Yeah, so that's the basic premise of the book. and I published it through them, through the school, through the quote-unquote artistic school. Sorry, I'm not a very smart person. I cannot fucking know. I don't know how it's called, what it's called. See, I can't even form a sentence, whatever. And yeah, the book did quite well. All of the copies sold and shit. And the reason for me telling this story and the message for this story, which would get even longer if I told it in detail and described what kind of feeling it was one of like the ceremonies. It felt as a ceremony of me entering maturity, seeing all of those people at the premiere of the book, if I can call it that, gathered because of me, because of something I created, was quite something, quite the high. One that a man is forced to chase for the rest of his days. I still think that no matter which way you do it, no matter in what way you do it, writing is still about your ego, all of the fucking... Right, because like the art in itself is a form of categorization of the word, thus you are basically bragging about the way you categorize word. You're like, hey man, my way of viewing the word is best. Just look at how I fucking enclosed it with my words. Yeah, so that was that. And the message I'm trying to get to is that fucking man, I started writing this book when I was like 10. The fucking final draft or whatever I was saying before, was done when I was 12, and I did it. And anyone can do that. Like, you don't need to attend fucking weird theater group. You don't need to be a chubby, uglier version of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. All you fucking need is fear. All you need, you already have the fear you have from doing that. The thing you think is stopping you is the thing that will push you if you develop it, if you study it, if you understand it, if you understand the fear, right? And look what's behind the fear, and imagine not conquering that. Imagine always staying like in the fucking corner where the cat's shit house is. Imagine that. Imagine never overcoming the fucking fear. Imagine dying on your bed and you never did it. And if used correctly, the fear can become a fuel, and it's all you need. The fuel is all you need. When you have a carriage and a little bit of fuel, you can drive anywhere you want, any destination. Because the fear in itself, unlike other emotions, never stops, and it will always keep you going. So use that fear, and no matter what age you are in, if you are like, I don't think you should watch this video, but if by any mistake you do, you can do it. You can do it, you have to do it, and fucking shut the fuck up, man. Stop fucking writing on Reddit about, oh, what am I supposed to... Shut the fuck up and just do it, okay? You write a fucking book, and you can always like publish it as an ebook on Amazon. God bless Jeff fucking Bezos and Amazon KDP. I don't care what you say, it's the best outlet out there for aspiring writers. Which you are. If you watch this far, I believe you are. Or maybe you sticked around for my glorious and fabulous outfit. Whatever. Or maybe you are trying to spot the cat. You can't spot the cat, he's sleeping next to me. So next time. Message summarized. Shut the fuck up. Write a book. Publish it. When you have the book, you will find a way to publish it. And if you fucking write a book and the fear still persists, use it. Still redirect it. I mean, what the fuck? Look at me, man. Look at the fucking shit I wrote. The fucking vampire, the premise of it, it's shit. And I wrote it, and it was out, and it sold out. So shut the fuck up. If that can sold out, your fucking fantasy novel or whatever, it will. It will, okay? You can always go locally. It's great advice. Actually, even for myself. Don't always try to go globally. You can. Don't fucking expect to fucking beat Pauline, right? Don't aim at that. It doesn't fucking matter. So maybe focus locally. Write a book. Edit it, maybe. I mean, if the book is shit, if the plot is shit, the book will be shit even if it's edited. If the plot is great, people who like the plot won't bitch about it. They will be like, yeah, the book is awesome with you, blah blah blah. So whatever. And find a way to share it with the world. And if no way presents itself, you can always just print it out yourself. Fucking find a fucking summer job, man. Save a few bucks and have it printed, and then whatever way you find. If you fucking hit like your local shop, bookshop, they will. If it's like not a part of a chain, they will sell it. Or you can put it in the fucking shops where they sell already used books, or just hand it out to fucking strangers, man. What are you in it for? Are you in it for the fucking money, or are you in it for sharing the story with people? If the latter is true, then you can even hand it out on the street. If you are a kid, a cute kid, not a kid that looks like me now or me back then, you will have people who take it. Just don't go in that dark street corner and change it for crystal meth. That's, even though it might make you more creative, hell, don't do meth, write books.